My heart was filled with pain, but at the same time, I felt relieved. I'm Sofia Martinez, 29 years old, and my husband's family rejected me for being embarrassing to their family. You're not up to our standards, said my father-in-law Robert. At that moment, I made my decision. My secret philanthropy would now end. For 2 years, I had been financing their house, cars, and children's schooling. But now it was time for them to learn the truth. Before sharing this story, please let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, because the story I'm about to tell you is the most powerful example of knowing your own worth without being dependent on anyone. I was living in Miami, and at 26, I met the love of my life. Michael Johnson, 31 years old, was a charismatic architect. He had also grown up in Miami, but his family's roots came from the wealthy circles of Boston. When we first met, I was working at a small financial consulting firm. I lived in a modest apartment and drove a Honda Civic. But I had a secret. In the evenings and weekends, I had founded an investment company called Phoenix Capital. Our meeting with Michael was accidental. While I was working with my laptop in a coffee shop, he was also working on architectural projects at the tables. We started chatting. I'm Sofia Martinez, financial analyst. Michael Johnson, architect. What are you working on so late? I have side projects. You? Villa design for a client. Yeah, I'm a night owl too. After that first conversation, we met at the same coffee shop every night. Michael was kind, understanding, and ambitious. He was interested in my small businesses. What does Phoenix Capital do? He had asked. Consulting for small investors. Still in the startup phase. I hadn't told him the truth. Phoenix Capital was actually a very successful hedge fund, and I was secretly managing millions of dollars. After 6 months, Michael and I had a serious relationship. He wanted to introduce me to his family. My family lives in Boston. They're very special people. They'll love you so much. What kind of people are they? My father Robert is a retired judge. My mother Margaret is an art historian. My sister Jessica, my brother David, they're all very successful. What Michael told me about his family was impressive. They lived in a big mansion in Beacon Hill. They were graduates of prestigious universities. Their social status was high. So, how will I be received? I worried. What do you mean? I'm an ordinary girl, Michael. I'm very different from your family. You're wonderful, Sophia. They'll see that too. Before going to Boston, I bought myself a nice dress, but not too expensive, something modest. I needed to protect my identity. The Johnson Mansion was truly impressive. A restored Victorian-style house from the 19th century. Margaret Johnson greeted us at the door. Margaret was an elegant but cold woman in her 60s. With her pearl necklace, perfect makeup, and looks that scanned me from head to toe, she was intimidating. You must be Sophia, she said, extending her hand. Michael has talked about you a lot. Nice to meet you, Mrs. Johnson. You can call me Margaret. Come right in. The interior of the house was like a museum. Antique furniture, valuable paintings, crystal chandeliers. Every corner smelled of old money. Robert Johnson was also an impressive man. Tall, white-haired, with an authoritative posture. Miss Martinez, he said while shaking hands. Michael said you're a financial consultant. Yes, I work at a small firm. Which firm? Morrison and Associates. It's not very big. This was true. My daytime job was really there. During dinner, I met the other family members. Jessica, 33, Harvard graduate lawyer. David, 27, Columbia MBA graduate, investment banker. Sophia, which university did you graduate from? Jessica asked. Florida International University. Business department. I could tell from their looks. FIU wasn't a prestigious school for them. And where do you live in Miami? Margaret asked. A small apartment in Coral Gables. Rental? Yes. These answers hadn't impressed them. I wasn't actually aiming to impress them either. Although my relationship with Michael deepened, there was distance between me and his family. They politely tolerated me, but weren't warm. Sophia is a sweet girl, Margaret would say to Michael on the phone. I could hear. But she's not like the girls in your circle. Michael would always defend me. Mom, Sophia is wonderful. Smart, hardworking, honest. I'm sure she is, dear. It's just you come from different circles. These conversations hurt me, but I stayed silent. I loved Michael and wanted to preserve this relationship. After 2 years, Michael proposed. At our favorite spot in Miami, during a romantic dinner. Sophia, I want to spend my life with you. I was very happy. I said yes, of course. During wedding planning, we had our first big conflict with the Johnson family. The wedding should be in Boston, Margaret said. For our circle. But Sophia's family is in Miami, Michael said. They can adapt. Our family friends, business associates, they're all in Boston. We eventually had the wedding in Boston, but on a smaller scale. Something more modest instead of the grand ceremony Margaret wanted. Budget considerations, Margaret told other family members. Sophia's family can't afford this scale. This wasn't true. I could have paid for everything, but I didn't want to reveal my identity. After marriage, we continued living in Miami. Michael's career was developing there, and I had my business too. But Johnson family visits were always stressful. At every visit, subtle comments, passive-aggressive remarks. Sophia, dear, that dress is very nice. Is it from Target? Margaret would say. Sophia, are you still working at that small firm? No career advancement, Robert would say. These comments were accumulating. Michael would defend me, but the family pressure continued. One day Margaret took me aside. Sophia, you're a sweet girl, but you should think about Michael's future. What do you mean? Michael can do great things, but he needs the right connections. Your circle has limitations. I support Michael. I'm sure you support him, dear. But sometimes love isn't enough. Status is also important. Meanwhile, Phoenix Capital was achieving incredible success. My hedge fund had reached $50 million in assets under management. My night work had increased. After Michael went to sleep, I was trading, organizing meetings with my clients, developing strategies. Sophia, why do you sleep so late? Michael would ask. Extra work. I have clients. Is there that much workload at Morrison? I also do freelance projects. I was partially telling the truth. Phoenix Capital was technically freelance. Investment returns were amazing. Tech startups, real estate, emerging markets. I had diversified the portfolio. Risk management was perfect. But nobody knew. Even Michael didn't understand the real scale of Phoenix Capital. In the second year of our marriage, problems started in the Johnson family. When Robert retired, income dropped dramatically. Margaret's art collection was valuable but not liquid. Mansion maintenance costs, property taxes, lifestyle expenses. Everything was adding up. Michael was worried. My family is experiencing financial difficulties. I don't know what I can do. What kind of problems? House mortgage, David's MBA loan, Jessica's law firm struggling. Everyone is stressed. My heart ached. I loved Michael, and his family was in pain. That night, I made an important decision. Through Phoenix Capital, via an anonymous trust fund, I started helping the Johnson family. Through my lawyer, Jonathan Pierce, I set up a help system as an anonymous benefactor. Provide financial assistance to the Johnson family. But the source must be completely confidential. How much assistance, Sophia? Whatever they need. House payments, loans, children's education. Everything. The first payment was for the mansion's mortgage. The bank suddenly informed the Johnson family, an anonymous benefactor has paid your mortgage. The house is free and clear. Robert and Margaret were shocked. Who is this benefactor? Why are they helping us? My lawyer only said, client confidentiality. Someone who respects your family. Within months, all of the Johnson family's financial problems were resolved. David's MBA loans, paid in full. Jessica's law firm debt, cleared. House maintenance and renovation, funded. New cars for family members, provided. Margaret's medical expenses, covered. The family was confused but grateful. This benefactor is like an angel, Margaret would say. They saved our family. Michael was also amazed. Incredible, Sophia. Someone really loves my family. Maybe it's someone who believes in second chances, I said. I was appreciating the irony. The family that considered me not good enough was being saved by me. After the financial stress was eliminated, the Johnson family's behavior changed, but in a worse direction. Now they were more arrogant. They would mention, "We have an anonymous benefactor," at every opportunity. "Someone obviously recognizes our family's value," Robert would say. "High-class people help each other," Margaret would say. And my treatment? It got even worse. "Sophia dear, that benefactor recognizes people at our level. Now you should be more careful about your appearance," Margaret would say. Somehow the anonymous help had made them more elitist. At David's engagement party, the situation came to a head. Fancy venue, expensive decorations, high society guests. At the party, Margaret cornered me. A week later, a family meeting was organized. Michael and I were called to the Johnson mansion. "Important family discussion," Margaret said on the phone. In the living room, the entire family was gathered. Robert, Margaret, Jessica, David, and their significant others. Margaret stood up and made a formal speech. "In recent months, our family has been blessed with a generous benefactor. This has shown us that people at the right level recognize our value. We've decided," Robert said, "that to maintain this new status, we must set higher standards." Jessica looked at me directly. "Sophia, you're a nice girl, but honestly, you're not compatible with our family's direction." David added, "Michael is a brilliant architect. He deserves a partner who matches our family's elevated position." Margaret delivered the final blow. "Sophia dear, the best thing for Michael would be for you to consider divorce. Our family is moving to higher circles. You simply don't fit." At that moment, perfect clarity came. For 2 years, I had saved them from financial ruin, and now they were using exactly that help to reject me. I stood up slowly and looked around the room. "You're absolutely right," I said calmly. "I'm not at your level." Margaret smiled smugly. "I'm glad you understand, dear. I'm not at your level," I repeated, "because I'm much higher." I saw confusion on their faces. I took out my phone and called my lawyer. I spoke on speaker. "Jonathan, immediately terminate all financial assistance to the Johnson family. All payments, Sophia. Everything. House, cars, loans, medical, education, everything." Complete silence in the room. "Also," I continued, "send an official letter from Phoenix Capital to the Johnson family. We're revealing the anonymous benefactor's identity." Margaret's face went white. "Phoenix Capital, that's your little company?" I laughed softly. "Little company? Phoenix Capital is a $50 million hedge fund, and I'm the founder and CEO." I looked at the shocked faces and continued. "For 2 years, I paid your mortgage. I paid David's loans. I saved Jessica's business. Cars, medical bills, renovations, everything." Robert stammered, This is impossible." I took out my phone and showed bank statements. Transfers from Phoenix Capital to the Johnson Family Trust. Hundreds of thousands of dollars. "Michael," I turned to my husband. "You were worried about your family's financial troubles. I quietly resolved them." Michael's mouth was agape. "Sophia, how? I'm a successful businesswoman, but I chose to maintain a humble appearance. Clearly, that was a mistake." Margaret tried damage control. "Sophia dear, we didn't know." "You didn't know because I intentionally hid it. I wanted to help your family because I love Michael. But apparently charity recipients don't become grateful. They just become more arrogant." My lawyer confirmed on the phone. "Mrs. Martinez, all payments have been terminated. The Johnson family's mortgage will resume full payments next month. Car loans will be reinstated. Medical insurance coverage will end." Robert panicked. "Wait, we can discuss this." "Discuss what?" I said coldly. "You just told me I don't belong in your family." "I agree. I don't belong with ungrateful people." Margaret desperately. "Sophia, we made a mistake. Please stay in the family. Mrs. Johnson, I used formal address. You said I should consider divorce because I don't match your elevated status. I agree. Michael deserves a family who appreciates him. Unfortunately, that's not you. I walked toward the door, then turned back. One more thing. Phoenix Capital has several contacts in the Boston business community. Word travels fast about families who bite the hand that feeds them. Your reputation is about to become interesting. In the car, Michael was in complete shock. Sophia, I had no idea.
Why didn't you tell me?
Because you love your family. I didn't want them to love you for money. But my family, they were horrible to you. Yes, they were. And now they know the cost of that behavior. What happens now? It was time for an important decision. Michael was a good person, but his family's influence would always be a problem. Michael, I love you, but your family will never truly accept me. Even now, after knowing the truth, they only care because money is involved. We can work this out. Can we? Your mother just suggested divorce. Your father called me unsuitable. Your siblings agreed, I don't belong. Money doesn't change those feelings, it just masks them. A painful but necessary conversation after several days. Michael, I think we need a break. Because of my family? Because I realized I've been hiding who I am to fit their expectations. That's not healthy for any marriage. Sophia, I love you exactly as you are. I know, but your family will always see me as an outsider. And I'm tired of proving myself to people who are determined not to see my worth. The separation wasn't easy. Michael tried everything to convince me to stay, but the damage done by the family was irreparable. Focusing on business after the separation, Phoenix Capital grew exponentially. It reached $200 million under management, a profile in Business Elite magazine, speaking engagements at major conferences. Sophia Martinez, the hedge fund queen you've never heard of, was the title of a feature article. Michael called after the article. Sophia, I'm so proud of you. My family feels terrible about everything. I'm sure they do. Not because they hurt me, but because they realized they missed an opportunity. Now, 2 years later, I'm 31 years old. Phoenix Capital is one of the most successful boutique hedge funds in the Southeast. I bought a beautiful house in Coral Gables, drive the car I actually want, dress how I choose. Michael and I occasionally meet for coffee. We're on friendly terms, but the romantic relationship is finished. My family asks about you constantly, he told me recently. I'm sure they do. They're probably calculating how much money they lost. The Johnson family experienced a rough period after my support ended. Mortgage payments resumed. David graduated, but with significant debt. Jessica's firm struggled without backing. They reached out several times through Michael. Tell Sophia we're sorry. Can we meet? Sophia, they really want to make amends. But some bridges once burned can't be rebuilt. I learned important lessons from this experience. Never hide your worth to make others comfortable. True acceptance doesn't come with conditions. People's behavior during your struggles reveals their character. Sometimes walking away is self-care, not quitting. The Johnson family treated me poorly when they thought I was beneath them. They only showed respect when they discovered I had money. That's not genuine acceptance. Michael was a good person caught between loyalty to his family and love for me. But sometimes a good person in the wrong situation is still the wrong choice. Today, Phoenix Capital is thriving. I'm featured in success magazines, speak at women's entrepreneurship conferences, mentor young female investors. I'm dating someone new, Dr. Carlos Ruiz, a successful surgeon who knew my worth before knowing my wealth. His family welcomed me warmly from day one, asking about my work, interests, dreams, not my bank account. Sophia, Carlos told me, my family loves you because you're kind, intelligent, funny. Everything else is a bonus. That's how family should work. The Johnson family probably hoped their anonymous benefactor was a permanent safety net. Instead, they learned an expensive lesson about gratitude and respect. Michael occasionally updates me. They really miss your support, both financial and personal. I always respond the same way. I miss feeling appreciated for who I was, not what I could provide. Sometimes people enter our lives to teach us our worth. The Johnson family taught me I deserve better than tolerating disrespect, even from people my spouse loves. They showed me who they really were when they thought I had nothing. I believed them. If this story inspired you, share your own experiences in the comments. Have you ever tolerated someone treating you as less than your worth? How did you stop it? Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe, because real stories give us real lessons about knowing our own worth. And remember, never let anyone tell you that you're not enough. If you're not enough for them, you're too good for them.